Hello there. Welcome to an episode of Lounge Rōnin Review. I am your host, Koios, the Rōnin BeatMaker. Hello there. And if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss Operation Bluebeam versus the sum of all fears. Now, I've been sitting on this topic, listening to everyone else's speculations, theories, feelings. Wanted to gather my thoughts, wait for more information to come out in case anything new or surprising were to be revealed. I wanted to make sure that I had my ducks in a row, so to speak. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. So, we're going to head over to what I would say the most rational theory and speculation as to what is going on currently. Let me get this set up for y'all. Oh, hold on, guys. I forgot one thing I had to do. Okay. Now that should work.
Unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft. I'm a manufacturer. Of unmanned.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear that. For those who are just joining in, let me know if you can hear the stream. Or actually, not hear the stream, hear the video. All right. We should be good now.
Hey everyone, my name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay. Uh, we don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that.
If you didn't hear him correctly, he said 80 nukes are missing from Ukraine. Now, if you are well aware of what's going on in Ukraine, then by now you're aware that it's pretty much a clusterfuck and that the Russian bear is close to finishing his meal, so to speak, metaphorically. So, this is a very interesting situation. Now, remember, this is all just theory and speculation for everybody.
That is the case. Um, so, I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? Um, that is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. Uh, we all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor, heading east or west or south. So, from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military um, project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an aircraft, an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems uh, that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature, because thermal imaging, it creates a digital image based off of the temperature variance. So whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow that it goes quickly into ambient, before you can even see it. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, None of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very uh, deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my guess, my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So, my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever. So, and do I think that that they're coming up out of the ocean? No, I don't think so. Uh, Drones that are multicopter type drones, not the the fixed wing aircraft that look like regular airplanes, but the multicopters, they only have so much battery life. They have hybrid versions that are gas powered with electric, but those can still only fly for a short period of time. There's no way in hell that any drone is going to go miles off the coast as a multicopter and fly into the interior of the United States and do a bunch of work and then turn around and fly back. It's just physics will not allow that to happen. So these drones, I believe, are launched from a location that nobody knows, but I do believe that they're flying low enough that they're just trying to sniff the ground and try to find something. So, again, I hate to be a pessimist or a guy that thinks, directly to the negative. However, I know as a professional, I mean, we build professional stuff for the military. I believe that they're actually out there trying to smell something that's very important. So, anyway, let me know what you think of this video. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let people know that this is a serious deal. Um, it's only serious for what the potential could be, or for what the potential is. You know, there's a lot of them out there. They're flying all over. They're flying low. They're flying at night. There's no reason for it other than to smell something. So anyway, God bless. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And let me know what you think of the video. Thank you.
So what do you guys think? You know, when I saw this video, it made me think of a particular movie, and we'll get to that particular movie in a moment. But I'm feeling more and more convinced that what we're dealing with is a combination of more than one thing. And I don't know what the drones are. The orbs. I have a video here I'm gonna put up for you guys to just take a look at. Um, and so you have the drones, you have the orbs, you have um, various crises going on throughout the world, many of which the United States government is involved in and or orchestrating. And you have this situation go on particularly in New Jersey. And I am under the impression that the um as I like to say, the veil continues to be uplifted, and the truth of the reality becomes more clear. You have many people who are waking up from their domestication, and it seems to be driving a wedge and preventing the control, the elites, however you want to name them, the machine, from actually actualizing their dreams in a flawless manner. And when you have orbs and all this kind of fun jazz within the skies, it's a healthy distraction from the many other issues that we have going on throughout the world. But even when it comes to these, drones and orbs, the reality is that they have a lot of history to them. I don't know how many of you are familiar with, but if you are, please make sure you hit that like button. Are familiar with the incident of the UFOs that were shutting down nuclear facilities, completely shutting off any nuclear capabilities that these military facilities had. Now, I don't know back then, this was happening in, I think, in the 1970s. I don't know what were the circumstances behind that. Not that many people really know, and if the people who do know, they're either not alive or we're just never going to get the full picture on that situation. But I bring that up because it's very similar to what's kind of going on in New Jersey. So take a listen to this 911 call.
Video of drones in the area that were landing in the solar panel farm, sucking power from the solar panel so they can continue their flights. We'd call her. I'll put you on a call for a suspicious drone sighting in North Stonington. The reporting party name is Lisa. She's driving back to Groton, but believes she has video of drones in the area that were landing in the solar panel farm, sucking power from the solar panel so they can continue their flights. We'd call her.
So now these drones have the ability to absorb energy from solar panels. I mean, that's some pretty impressive technology there. The ability to wirelessly charge these drones without any form of connection. Now, we have those, I know with the iPhones, you can connect them to those like charging pads, but the charging pads still need to be connected to an outlet, some form of source of electricity. So, with that type of technology, that is, how many years or decades ahead of us is that? So it could more than likely possibly be the military, considering that type of technology. And I forgot how many, what was it, like 10 or 20 years the U.S. military is technologically ahead of us in terms of the citizens. So, that's another speculation to consider. But, when it comes to the United States government, take anything that they say with a grain of salt.
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny, there was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, you know, lost control, and my drone started going down, dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and, like a couple feet off the table, and then came right back down.
Okay, you see it? You see how it goes? See how it goes? And then it becomes a spacecraft or aircraft or whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck is that, bro? Did it just get smaller? Bro, what?
Above the ocean, and it was low, very low, but so bright and so clear, and it was huge. Like when you...
I'm concerned. I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about that.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this, and we're taking it seriously. And we
So, there you have it. The conflicting reports, the eyewitness accounts, the lack of transparency, which is on purpose, if you ask me. All of this is just a big distraction. It's fitting that you look at the situation in Ukraine, you look at the situation currently in Syria. You have a lot of things that are going on right now that are polarized, and Americans are, easily distracted. That is just a commonplace when it comes to Americans. And, to add more speculation to the possibility that the individual in the first video may be onto something, let's take a look at this. Well, and thank you for Community Notes for providing us some clarity on this. So it says, breaking radioactive materials gone missing in transit near Newfield, New Jersey. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commissioner posted an alert on their website to Cat 3 nuclear waste that had come up missing. According to the report, shipping container containing the radioactive material was found damaged and empty. Could this be what the nuclear drone sniffers be looking for? Could this be what's causing the high radiation levels in the area? But then, thank you to Community Notes, it says, misleading. The missing material is GE6A pin source, a small pin used to calibrate PET scanners in hospitals. If you stood next to it naked for a year, you would absorb 10 milliverts, equivalent to a normal CT scan. So, possibly the speculation about this radioactive material may not be correct. So, we now have a very conflicting situation here. Is this a terrestrial situation going on, or is it extraterrestrial? Or is it a misleading extraterrestrial perception? Now we have here, supposedly, we'll see if Community Notes has confirmed this or denied this. So let's see, what do we got? Nothing? Oh, nothing. Okay. So it says here, the aerial craft witnessed flying over the East Coast is part of managed, operated, and controlled by Office of Global Access, a branch of the CIA signed the Technology Directorate established in 2003. Most of OGA's operations involve stray nuclear weapons, downed satellites, or adversary technology. You can take this one to the bank. The OGA are looking for something or someone on the East Coast and in one part of the West Coast. My guess is that a submarine crossed over our SOSUS warning nets on either coast, and now there is an active manhunt for this sub and or ground-based mass casualty weapon hidden in a cargo container or automobile that was in a cargo container. Mission objectives of the OGA currently: deploy advanced surveillance assets to triangulate any communication indicative of device presence, coordinate with federal and local law enforcement to establish a rapid response framework, maintain civilian safety, and minimize public panic while advising intelligence operations. Yeah, you're doing a shit job at the number 3. If we're going to be honest here. Maintaining civilian safety? I mean, so far, I guess. Minimize public panic? You've done a piss poor job at that. You got the whole state of New Jersey freaking out. You got most of the East Coast freaking out. You have not done anything to minimize public panic because you'd rather not be transparent with us, because you'd rather create more panic. But you're just leaving the American public and citizens with their imagination. And if you haven't noticed lately, the American imagination is pretty fucking wild right now. So I don't know, you're not minimizing public panic, but I'm sure you are advancing intelligence operations because you're probably using the panic as a means to facilitate that advanced intelligence operations. Seeing as now they just banned flying drones in New Jersey, but hey, that's probably part of the plan. But let's continue. Assets in play. Low altitude surveillance aircraft actively monitoring cellular and satellite communications. Special operation units. Positions for rapid deployment upon confirmed of target location. Cyber intelligence teams. England engaged in deep dive analysis of known terror networks. Digital activity. OGA will continue leveraging advanced ISR, intelligence surveillance reconnaissance methods, including low and slow aerial tactics, to enhance signal acquisition. There is word that the American and British government might be preparing to escalate our DEFCON status if actionable intelligence confirms a mass casualty weapon is on the loose. And here you have the supposed drone. So, like I said, take all of this with a grain of salt. But let's continue. We now have American citizens engaging in their own interstellar warfare.
Shoot that boy down, bro. Shoot that boy down. Shoot that boy down. Shoot that boy down, bro. Shoot that boy down. Shoot that boy down.
There you have it. Let's hope these drones don't make it to the Bronx, or World War III will be started because some game bangers wanted to prove themselves to the gang. And speaking of game bangers, Trump had something to say. Let's hear what this boy has to speak on our situation. The golden trumpet.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know the truth? They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been on the drones?
I don't want to comment.
Received an intelligence briefing on the Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that. I cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been
I don't want to comment on that. He doesn't want to comment on whether or not he has received any intelligence regarding the drones. That tells me he knows something. He must know something. But you see, if this was, Project Bluebeam, which if any of you are unaware of, Project Bluebeam is the U.S. government staging a alien invasion within the United States to solidify the plan of creating a worldwide government and further stripping away people's individual rights and freedoms. So with that being said, that is a possibility. Or is this the sum of all fears? So I want to play 2 trailers for you to give you an idea of what I mean.
We're sure this is shocking for many of you that are just hearing the news and tuning in. But the response is being complicated by the mysterious domino effect of power failures along the East Coast as well as around Los Angeles.
Hey!
Throughout the United States, looting and widespread panic in some areas. While no one has yet claimed responsibility for the bombing or bombings, but I'm sure at this point the authorities have not ruled out terrorism or follow-up attacks from a rogue state. We're giving you news as we get it, and obviously this is worrying, but stay tuned, and we'll give you. Los Angeles has experienced a nuclear detonation.
in mind what the newscaster in this trailer has said. He said, bomb or bombings and rogue nations. What current countries does the American government consider rogue nations at the moment? Why don't you leave some comments down below. Share your thoughts on that.
Call Evan.
Calling Evan.
Jeff. Did you hear the news?
Yep. World War III.
That'd be lots of nukes. This is just one so far. Terrorism, most likely.
What's our play?
Got a place. Prepper. Been planning for the big one.
Uh-huh. Rich guy. I know the type.
Called a few months back. Need security guys.
You tell me when and where. I'm there.
I'll send coordinates. Come jocked up.
I got your back, boss.
Call Tara.
Calling Tara.
You're not getting on the freeway.
Are you texting Lexi?
Is that your girlfriend?
She's not my girlfriend.
You can't get a girlfriend.
Sure.
I can get a girlfriend if I wanted a girlfriend.
You're not old enough to date.
Says the baby.
I'm 8.
Yeah.
Okay, he is right. He is right, though. For sure. What is up with you?
Is that Dad?
You're not answering your phone.
What are you doing?
America's just been attacked.
What?
Nuclear bomb just hit Los Angeles.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, Mom, look.
Oh, crap.
Follow me home. We're headed to the Ross place.
Who's Ross?
Hello, Kathy.
I can't make it tonight.
Where are you going?
I can't tell you that.
Jack, tell her where you're going. In fact, tell her who you work for. She'll be impressed.
I work for the CIA, and the director asked me at the last minute to come with him to Russia to do a nuclear arms inspection.
That is so lame.
Hello?
You're about to breathe air that's way over your pay grade, so listen up. You're going to be asked for analysis and advice, so be sure you know what you're talking about. Welcome to the CIA, sport.
Setting the groundwork. I wanted you guys to see Homestead, and then I wanted to show you the trailer for The Sum of All Fears.
At a time of increasing tension,
According to this, there are 17 senior scientists on duty today. I only count 14.
deliberate deception,
3 Russian scientists are missing. I need to know where they are.
I don't go on the missions.
I just write reports.
So write a report about it.
I'm an analyst.
I'm not trained for this.
Just be my eyes and ears.
I can't be with somebody who's going to keep their life hidden from me, Jack.
I will not let that happen.
and new enemies.
You don't fight Russia and America. You get Russia and America to fight each other and destroy each other.
Only 2 men suspect the truth.
What's a South African doing in the Ukraine? With 3 Russian scientists in a crate from Israel.
Fair guess they're building a bomb.
From the electrifying bestseller by Tom Clancy.
The crate was put on a cargo freighter headed for the East Coast.
Wait, what did it just say? Hold on. Let's repeat that part.
From the electrifying bestseller by Tom Clancy.
The crate was put on a cargo freighter headed for the East Coast.
What? And the producer.
It was put on a crate on a freighter to the East Coast. What did that guy say in the first video that we watched? That it was on a freighter on the East Coast.
Producer of Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games.
It's Ryan! The bomb is
flag.
Where's the president now?
They're taking him airborne. They think it might be the Russians.
It wasn't the Russians.
Morgan Freeman.
It adds up. You just don't like what it adds up to.
If you strike against the Russians, you sacrifice your moral authority. We have reason to believe the bomb was the work of terrorists, not the Russians.
Hit him.
Mr. President, they're scrambling to fighters.
My orders are to get the right information to the people who make the decision.
Put it in your report.
And if you shut me out, your family and 25 million other families will be dead.
The Sum of All Fears. Directed by Phil Alden Robinson.
Boy, that plot sounds a little too close to home, doesn't it? That plot is a little too close to home. Maybe now you understand what I'm talking about. So, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about that? A little too close to home, isn't it? A little too close to home. What do you... I mean, that's pretty crazy if you ask me. What are the odds of that? What's the video? Now, the reason why I wanted to play both of those videos, those trailers, was because I wanted you guys to understand the combination of Operation Bluebeam and the Sum of All Fears. You know, Operation Bluebeam is you use a fake alien invasion. But, you know, the question will be, you know, if they were to be nukes, you know, everyone will be kind of asking themselves, why the hell are aliens using nukes? You know, they could go so far as say that, you know, there are these aliens that took over a rogue nation, as they want to put it, and that they took over the nation to create this false war. You know, take your pick. You know, it can be any of these kind of things. That's why I brought up both of those films, because I wanted you guys to get an idea of what we're dealing with, potentially. Because nothing is set in stone yet. But I wanted to also share with you this. I wanted to see what you guys thought about it. You know, read a little bit of it. And it says, now this was posted 5/23/2022. So who knows? But it says here, the next false flag will be centered on the premise of a malicious introduction of nuclear source materials. It will not involve a nuclear device or nuclear detonation, but rather a radiological threat. Nuclear source materials will be deliberately leaked to target areas to inflict severe injuries through radiation exposure. The real number of casualties as a result of these attacks will remain very low. The purpose is to create a new method of restricting freedom of movement and new policies that will enable the government to continue its expansion of power. The media will display images of attack survivors who will have burns and lesions across their skin. Videos depicting overwhelmed triage centers with victims vomiting or otherwise unresponsive will be shared on social media. The threat of radiation exposure, an invisible enemy, will be used as a primary vector. An application model after COVID contact tracing will be installed on every mobile device that uses iOS or Android. This application will serve to notify the user about potential hazardous exposure and recommend actions they should take, which would include voluntary exposure testing. Additionally, cellular carriers will roll out automated SMM alerts that will have similar functionality. This application will interfere directly with the UICC on mobile devices. If the user does not have the application installed, network connectivity will be prohibited. New policy will grant governmental agencies further access to metadata and geolocation data on every platform. Included in these policies will be backdoor legislation that bans the use of end-to-end encryption. This legislation will be identical in nature to the recently introduced S-35-8 Earn It Act. These attacks will be localized to a specific region. Triage centers will be set up in the affected areas through the deployment of the National Guard and coordinating members such as FEMA. Yeah, but they ain't got no money, so good luck on that front. This triage centers will see moderate traffic. The narrative will continue longer than any possible threat. Despite offering no protection or even relevancy against a radiological threat, you will see another wave of people wearing cotton surgical masks in not just to target areas, but the entire United States. There will be severe disruptions to the internet through the use of addition rather than negation. Alternative sources of information will become overwhelmed with content generated by convolutional neural networks that support the narrative or uses of carefully crafted opposition. We deal with that every day now. So, think of the bots, but to the point of, I don't even know. I mean, that's crazy. Platforms that are incompatible with this system will be suppressed entirely on the infrastructural level. There will be an organic service disruptions as a result of excessive traffic. So, this is one way to essentially silence alternative thought and speech and research in a blink of an eye. Videos will surface showing these triage centers empty with personnel staffing them idle. This will threaten the narrative. The control of information is required for the campaign to be successful. The perpetrator will not be an Islamic-affiliated group or an evil incel domestic terrorist. It will have no relevancy to the ongoing Ukraine conflict, but the blame will fall on all these groups. The fog of war will surround information relating to the origin, and this will be intentional. The real attacks will be psychological. Fear will be exploited, just like with the I'm not going to say the last part. Don't need to get in trouble. But, this is where we are. It starts getting really confusing because we don't really know what is really the truth. And I'm only bringing up all of these examples for you to make up your own decision as to what you feel about what we're currently experiencing. Now, The Redacted recently had someone on their channel. The fuller interview isn't going to be coming out for some time now. And I'm thinking that we'll finish off with that because I think that's important to bring up. Now,
therapy has always...
I think this is important to bring up because I think it kind of adds to what I've been saying. Like, we're dealing with a multi-layered situation, and they're gonna pull out all of the stops. And you know, it makes sense because how many times, you know, if you are familiar with the white hats and the propaganda with them, then you'll understand that they can use movie. Think of the movie Wag the Dog. If you ever seen the movie Wag the Dog, it's a perfect example of this. A situation happens with the president, and they create a fake war to distract the American people from the situation that's going on.
Welcome in, everyone. Wake up. It is Redacted. I'm Clayton Morris.
President.
So glad to have you all here. Nice to see
So
you
I
on
wanted
this Thursday. Natalie is
to
off
finish
today.
off with this
We got
video.
Christmas parties and all sorts of stuff, the kids and
but
everything.
more
so
in
I'm
particular,
holding down the fort. Philip is here. David is here. Grim running the graphics on the back end. So it's a man's show today. It's a testosterone-filled.
More in particular, the ending of this interview, or this clip of an interview he's going to be releasing.
Yes, Fox Mulder, and that storyline is based on this individual who worked at the FBI. He no longer works there, of course, but he has deep intelligence sources. And he, last year on our show, told us that we would, in 1 year, or I don't know exactly the time stamp on it exactly, he said to expect a fake alien invasion in the United States. Watch. What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft? What do you know from your experience in the FBI that they act this deep state? What do they want?
The end goal is, and this is a long
Keep in mind, take all of this with a grain of salt.
As well as physical operation as well.
I spoke to John D'Souza, former FBI agent who was
take
in
this
charge
all
of the
with a
X-Files
grain of
program
salt
at the FBI.
But
yes, Fox Mulder
at the exact same time, at this point in the game, we cannot be surprised.
He no longer works there, of course, but he has deep intelligence sources. And he, last year on our show, told us that we would, in 1 year, or I don't know exactly the time stamp on it exactly, he said to expect a fake alien invasion in the United States. Watch. What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft? What do you know from your experience in the FBI that they act this deep state? What do they want?
The end goal is, and this is a long-term psychological operation, as well as physical operation as well. The long-term goal is ultimately to put together this grand operation called fake alien invasion. Now, the only fake part about it is going to be that the alien visitors are involved with this. They're not at all. Everything else is going to be real. The destruction that they bring to our cities is going to be real.
Keep in mind, what did we just watch? The two trailers.
That's unbelievable. And here we are with this fake alien invasion happening right now. So we wanted to check back in with John because he has a lot more information on exactly how this is unfolding right now. And again, this is just a small portion of my much larger interview that I did with John. We're going to release that much larger interview this weekend, but here is just a short sample of what I spoke to John about just a few hours ago this morning. Watch. But you believe we're heading for some sort of a large-scale destruction event? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say good luck to New Jersey in closing their airspace to these. I'm calling them LSDs, large super weapon drones. That's a perfect name for them, large super weapon drones, because it immediately states what these things are and how powerful they are. and that they are weapons. They are absolutely weapons. And the federal government that's there right now has no excuse for not treating them like weapons. So I think everyone should start calling them LSDs as well. That might help the situation somewhat. So, like I said, I don't I don't think New Jersey is going to be able to keep them out of the airspace because of their qualities, their abilities. We've had jets try to track them down. They have the ability to put out electromagnetic pulse to deactivate any drones or even airplanes that go against them. They have the ability to disappear at 3,000 miles an hour. It's incredible the abilities that these things have. So I don't.
And these are
really,
deep state program. I mean, is it your contention that these are an off the books deep state program of advanced aerospace technology that the United States government has and is deploying, or
No.
So when
No, it's not. It's not the United States at all. The United States, the Biden administration, is obeying the people who are sending these drones. They are, by standing down our forces. They had to actively
saying that it's not our military who's giving the orders. So who is it? He says it's not aliens. So then who is it? Is it a private government that supersedes all other governments? Is it so who is it?
tell the military to stand down, no matter what they see in the skies, and not shoot at these things. So the United States is implicated in this, of course, but it's not them as the source of the drones or the plasmas and the orbs that are accompanying these drones either. So there's just a tremendous amount is involved in this. But I really wanted to start by telling you, Clayton, all the prophecies and predictions that have led us to this point right now, because the people have to be educated on what is going on exactly, so that they can know how to respond. They can believe also. So I wanted to tell you guys, first of all, that we had a prediction from Cliff High, and it's called the Alien Invasion Prediction. And it went like this. I'm sure your audience knows about this, little bits here and there, but I want to tell them the
our audience is smart. Yeah,
Right.
our audience
Right.
is smart. They, like as you mentioned earlier, they are awakened. I would say maybe 80% of our audience is awake. And so
Exactly.
to the 20% of you that maybe are still fighting this. Okay, buckle up.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Well, the first prediction was from Cliff High. It's called the Alien Invasion Prediction. In 2009, he used his WebBot software to predict that a president, Donald Trump, would eventually have an interview with Joe Rogan, and that this would occur as a starting point for a countdown when it did occur. And it did occur. And at the time he made this prediction, Joe Rogan was not even very famous at that time. And President Trump.
What year was this again?
This was in 2009. 2009. So this was President Trump was not even anywhere near office at that time. So it's an extraordinary prediction because it was in 2009, and he said that the moment that interview happened, and how he knew that interview would be important, nobody knows. But through the WebBot software is how he finds these things out. And he found out that in December, and he said 39 days after the trigger event, which was the interview, there would be on December 3rd, there would be UFO wars in the sky. There would be UFOs and wars in the sky. Now, he does not predict events. He predicts what people will be saying about the events. And
So
that was
chatter, sort of online forums and chatter, and
Yeah.
that's how his WebBot software was working.
Yes, and it crawls all these things, and it sucks up the predictions from the language that people use, because his contention is that people are all intuitive, much more than they know, and they're already saying what's going to happen in the future without even knowing it. And it worked. It worked because he had 39 days after that interview was December 3rd. Just a little while ago. So he missed it by like a couple of weeks. I don't think anybody has any qualms with that. But
right.
But it still started shortly after December 3rd, 2024. So that was an extraordinary prediction. And that's just the first one that relates to this. Now, also, I wanted to say to you guys that in the Bible, in Thessalonians, we have a prediction, an unfulfilled prophecy that says that God shall send upon them a strong delusion so that they should believe a lie. And we had no less a personage than the great Chuck Missler, who is one of the greatest Christian scholars who ever lived. And he always said that that passage had to do with a staged alien event. So that was his feeling, and I always followed him.
Do you think that that's what this is right now? This is this that we're seeing. Is it the large scale staged alien event? I mean, we have people all over the country seeing these things. Videos being shared every night that these are not airplanes, you know, and some are airplanes, right?
Right.
But some are. You're seeing these massive drones that are accelerating at speeds we don't have anything that can do that. Physics, you know, wise, it would tear apart a human being if they were inside a craft like that. Do you believe that this is the event?
Yes. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that goes into the next prediction that I wanted to talk to people about, which is the Werner von Braun, who was the head of NASA. He was the head of NASA. I think he was the first one way back in the 40s. But when he in the 1970s, he died in 1977. But in the 1970s, before he predicted that the world elites, the cabal, they would need to have several worldwide conflicts to control the nations. He said the first one. That he wanted to put into this prediction was the fight of communism against the free world. Communism against the free world, and that would be a worldwide conflict. He was talking about the Cold War that came later. Then he also said there would also be, then when that peters out, there would be a war between the Islamic world and the Western world, and that came true in the war on terrorism. Okay, but then he said his prediction that is called the last card prediction. It used to be called the last Trump card. But he said that the world powers, the cabal, the Illuminati who control all the nations, he said their last card, when their backs are up against the wall and they don't know what else to do, would be a staged alien invasion. That's how he put it. In 1970s, he told his protege, Carol Rawson, that this would occur. And it was said it would be a fake UFO threat from outer space. He said it would be then a buildup of military forces, the what do you call this? The global weapons complex that we have, military industrial complex that we have, would take this wonderful excuse to build up their weaponry all over the world, and then the staged alien false flag event would occur. And that's what he predicted. And he said this would be used to unify the entire world behind the elites, behind the cabal that's working on this.
There you go. We're going to release the full interview. It's jaw-dropping, multiple pieces of it.
So you can understand, like, how all of this is very illuminating. And it points to a very larger situation. Now, I just wanted to give you guys, different perspectives on how this can be about. I wanted to show you the trailer for The Sum of All Fears because, I mean, it's literally apparent to what we're dealing with now. So I just think that people out there just need to be aware of these things and just keep your head down. Stay positive. Say your prayers daily. We don't know what's coming. But it's going to be hard for them to pull it off because, like I said, people are wising up. They've lost the ability to keep their narrative from breaking apart. And right now, whatever they try to pull off next, it will be that much harder for them to actually follow through. So just be aware that, we are in for some form of event that will shape and change our perception of reality and our freedoms that come with that said reality. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Lounge Rōnin, all things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, and leave a comment with your thoughts below. And until next time, stay positive.